I stole my teacher's bearded dragon. The poor thing barely moved anymore when I walked past its tank on Monday morning. It just sat there under the light with its eyes half closed, and its body pressed flat against the fake rock like it was trying to disappear into it. The dragon used to climb all over the branches and glass when students got close, but now it didn't even lift its head. I pulled out my phone and started looking up bearded dragon care while my teacher talked about upcoming assignments. Every article I read made my stomach tighten. Being that tired meant either temperature problems, not getting enough food, or worse. The more I scrolled through symptoms, the more sure I was that this animal was dying. I went to the office during lunch and asked to speak with the principal about one of the classroom animals, but the secretary said the principal was too busy and I should send an email instead. I sent the email that night with photos of the dragon and a list of everything wrong with its care based on my research. 3 days passed with no response. I started staying after class to check on the dragon, and each day it looked worse. Its eyes were sunken and its skin looked loose and dull instead of bright and smooth. On Thursday, I stood by the tank after everyone else left. My teacher was erasing the whiteboard. I asked, "Is the dragon okay?" She glanced over her shoulder. "It's fine." I pointed at the heat lamp. "The heat lamp looks really dim. Should someone replace it?" She turned around and set down the eraser. "You need to worry about your grades instead of playing veterinarian." Friday morning, I got to class early, and my teacher was standing by the tank talking to another teacher. I heard her say, "Honestly, I hope it just dies over the weekend so I don't have to deal with it anymore." The other teacher laughed awkwardly and changed the subject. I sat down at my desk and felt something crack inside me. This woman was actively waiting for this animal to die because it was inconvenient for her, and nobody with any power was going to stop it. After the final bell rang, I watched my teacher pack up her bag and leave. I pretended to work on homework as the hallway outside got quieter and quieter. I looked at the dragon, and it still hadn't moved. If I put this off until Monday, it might actually be dead. My hands were shaking as I walked to the tank and gently grabbed the dragon. It barely reacted to being picked up, which scared me more than anything else that week. I unzipped my hoodie and tucked it inside. The second I zipped it back up, I heard footsteps in the hallway. The footsteps got closer, and I could hear keys jingling. A janitor walked past the doorway pushing a trash cart and didn't even glance inside. I waited until the sound faded and then moved toward the door. Every step I took echoed too loud. I turned a corner and saw the vice principal's office door open with light spilling out. I pressed myself against the lockers and moved past as quietly as possible. When I finally pushed through the side exit, the cold air hit my face. I started walking the 4 blocks home faster than I'd ever walked in my life. The dragon shifted slightly against my ribs, and I put my hand over my hoodie. "You're going to be okay," I whispered, but my voice was shaking. I got home and my mom was still at work. I set the dragon on my bed, and it just laid there with its eyes barely open. Its ribs were visible under its skin, and its breathing looked shallow. This thing might not make it through the night. I ran to the garage and found an old plastic storage bin my dad used for tools, dumped everything out, and started setting it up as a temporary tank. I lined it with paper towels and filled a shallow dish with water. Then I grabbed the car keys and drove to the pet store even though I only had my permit. I spent $180 of my savings on a proper heat lamp, UVB bulb, hides, calcium powder, and live crickets. Driving back home without getting pulled over felt like a miracle. I quickly set everything up in my closet where my mom wouldn't see it. When I plugged in the heat lamp and the warm light filled the bin, the dragon lifted its head for the first time in days. Monday morning, my teacher stood at the front of the classroom with her arms crossed. "Someone stole the bearded dragon over the weekend." Her voice cut through the room. "Whoever did it needs to return it immediately, or you will face serious consequences, including suspension and possible criminal charges." Her eyes landed on me and stayed there. I kept my face blank, thinking about how the dragon had actually moved to a different spot in its tank this morning. I felt absolutely nothing except the certainty that I'd do it again.